Shavua Tov, a good vach to everybody. Tonight's story, the first ones, took place almost exactly 200 years ago. It was during the lifetime of the third Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek. There was a businessman who had a plan to create a store in his hometown. So he borrowed a lot of money from a lot of friends and family, and off to the market he went to buy all kinds of merchandise with which to stock this store, and he was hoping to be successful, pay back his debts, and be able to support his family in a nice way. Came to the market, saw amazing merchandise, went around and negotiated prices and deals, and when it came time to go back and pay for his merchandise, he reached into his pocket and discovered a hole and a missing wallet. And he immediately fainted because all of these thoughts went through his head. The money is gone, it's all borrowed, no one's going to trust him, there's no way he can pay it back, he has no future in his town, and he just fainted away. So immediately people began to work hard to revive him. The first thing he could say when he was revived was, "Did you find it? Did you find my wallet?" And they said no, and he fainted again. And this happened a number of times, and each time it was more difficult to revive him. They began to fear that they won't be able to revive him. So they ran to the Rebbe and said, "What should we do?" They told him the story. The Rebbe said, "Next time you revive him, tell him when he asks if you found the wallet, tell him yes." So that's exactly what they did. They revived him. "Did you find the wallet?" They said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, thank God." And he sat up and he was catching his breath, and all of a sudden, in ran his Uber driver, that's tongue-in-cheek. The wagon driver ran in and said, "I found the wallet in my wagon. It must have fallen out of someone's pocket." It was his wallet. They gave it back to him, and life was good. He paid his debts, he paid his bills, and he took his merchandise, and off he went. The Rebbe used to tell people that he's not a miracle person. So the Chassidim approached the Rebbe and said, "You claim you can't do miracles, and look, here you performed an open miracle. You said, tell him it's found. The second after we told him that, it appeared mysteriously from the finder." So the Rebbe said it's not a miracle, and I still am of the opinion that I'm not a miracle person. But there's a statement of our teacher, of our rabbis in the Talmud, that Hashem doesn't give a person a burden that he can't bear. Just like you can't overburden an animal, God would never, God forbid, overburden a person. Yes, Hashem does send challenges, but Hashem doesn't send something to a person that he can't handle. When you came and told me this guy is suffering from a challenge that he can't handle, it was obvious to me that Hashem didn't give him this challenge. Therefore I said, it didn't get lost. Tell him it was found. And that's what happened. The point being, I still think it's a miracle personally, but that the application of this statement of our rabbis that Hashem, yes, tests people, and those tests are difficult, and yes, it's fair to ask Hashem, don't burden me with a test, but Hashem only sends us tests that we can handle. And this leads me to our second story, which I hope I can connect to the upcoming holiday of Rosh Hashanah. There was a young man in Belgium who was very, very bright. He worked for the Euro, whatever they're called over there. And he had a very high position, very, very brilliant guy, and he became close to the Chabad Shliach of there. His name is Rabbi Slavititsky. And he began to show up on a weekly basis for classes, for services, and then all of a sudden he stopped showing up. And eventually the rabbi tracked him down, and the guy said, "Well, I've fallen in love with a non-Jewish girl. We intend to get married. We have a wedding date, and I didn't feel it was proper for me to come. I didn't want to argue with you about it, and I didn't want to show up when this is where I'm planning to go." So the rabbi persuaded him to come to New York to see the Rebbe. This must have been in the very, very early 90s or late 80s. So they traveled to New York. It was during the month in which Rosh Hashanah takes place. And on Sunday mornings, the Rebbe would give out dollars. So one Sunday morning, this young man approaches the Rebbe in the line. And when he came to the Rebbe, he gathered himself and he says, "Rebbe, I'm in love with this girl and we're planning to get married." And he waited for the Rebbe's response. Anticipating, like other rabbis and his parents and other people, they'll try to talk him out of it and how terrible an act he's heading for. Instead, the Rebbe said, I'm jealous of you. And this young European is thinking to himself, and he's shocked. The Rebbe's jealous of him? What does that mean? And in connection to what he's about to do, what he just informed the Rebbe of his plans. So the Rebbe went on and said that Hashem tests people and challenges people, which is meant to make them grow. I'll just add, it says the Jewish people are compared to olives because the only way to get the real stuff out of the olive is to squeeze it. That's when the juice comes out. That's when the oil comes out. The Rebbe said Hashem only sends people tests that they can handle. The bigger the person, the bigger the test. I never had such a difficult test that you're having. But the fact that you're getting such a test means that God trusts that you can overcome this challenge. The boy was quiet, took the Rebbe's dollar and blessing and left, sat himself down in the corner for a while, and eventually turned to Rabbi Slavatitsky and said, I'm calling it off. And that's where he went with that. And since then he is happily married with a nice, beautiful Jewish family, I believe living in Eretz Yisrael today. It's a real story with a name, which I'm not going to share. I don't know to share. But the point of these stories is probably that yes, lots of challenges and difficult things come our direction. Usually it means that it's for us and it's for a purpose to help us to grow. So although we ask Hashem to give us revealed good and revealed blessings, we should know that challenges are opportunities that we can use, and we have the strength to overcome them and to grow from them and become even better. May we only know good, may we overcome all challenges, and may we all be inscribed for a good, sweet, wonderful year as Rosh Hashanah approaches us. Have a good one.